Thanks for joining us on the weekend edition of National Focus. I'm Jarna Hector. Coming up, Dominica's Prime Minister aims to keep it simple and focused with OECS chairmanship, and a call for greater awareness of sickle cell anemia has been issued by the youth of Dominica. Stay tuned for details of these and other stories after this.
The black cickle fungus can survive on banana and plantain leaves even after they have been cut from the tree. Farmers and hucksters are encouraged to use alternate cushioning material when moving produce from farm to the market. Do not use banana and plantain leaves as cushioning. It is against the law to move banana and plantain trash from the field. Obey the law and stop the spread of black cickle today.
Thank you for staying with us. The Prime Minister of Dominica, Honorable Roosevelt Skerrit, has assumed again the role of chairman of the OECS authority 7 years after his first stint, with an aim to keep it simple and focused. Honorable Skerrit told GIS News in an exclusive on Friday that these are interesting times for such a position.
We are still in the OECS grappling with the economic crisis, and all of us are seeking to implement policies and programs which are geared towards igniting growth and also creating sustainable jobs in the economy. You would have heard in St. Luce, for example, the government there has suggested to public officers a reduction in salary of 5%. You would have heard also in Grenada, the government there is negotiating an arrangement with the International Monetary Fund. Antigua and Barbuda had an arrangement with the Monetary Fund a few months ago, which ended a few months ago. But also we have the Economic Union to continue to roll out. A number of us have passed all the legislation required to give effect to the various provisions of the Economic Union. It is for us now to ensure that the citizens of the OECS continue to benefit from the OECS Economic Union. So there's still some more work to be done in that regard.
The nation's leader says at the forefront at this time is the widespread acceptance of the Caribbean Court of Justice by all member states. He hopes that under his leadership, each country will accede to the CCJ.
In Dominica's case, in the next few weeks, we would have finalized our accession to the court in its appellate jurisdiction. The government of St. Lucia, through its parliamentary statements, have indicated its intention to follow Dominica's lead in that regard. And the government of Grenada indicated its intention to hold a referendum as required by its constitution to recognize the court. My hope is that the rest of us will roll out a plan, a schedule towards the realization of that court. So while it is a CARICOM institution, but we also in the sub-region, we play a very important role in that process, and of course we are also members of CARICOM.
Chairman Honorable Skerrit also hopes that OECS member states will realize increased knowledge exchange during his tenure. So far, he says, even with a comparatively small regional population, the Organization of Eastern Caribbean States can count notable achievements. An artist and art instructor at the Division of Culture wants Dominicans to take art more seriously. Aaron Hamilton told GIS News on Thursday that too many locals see art and other forms of creativity as hobbies.
We still look at arts as a hobby. I like the idea that we can do some art classes, but that's not what I really want for arts in Dominica. I want for arts in Dominica that it is done right through the whole year, the whole time. Through the schools, let them take it on as a subject, you know, not just a hobby. People think of art as a hobby. It's not a hobby. Art can be very useful in someone's life. It can create employment, can bring about a nice little breadwinner for the person, you know. So arts just for summer we're still looking at it as a hobby. I think we need to look at it more deeply than that.
In addition to his work at the Cultural Division, Hamilton teaches art and craft summer classes for students 7 to 10 years. Asked about the future of the Cultural Division's class, Hamilton says that the expectation is that the program will grow as the needs of the people grow.
It will change eventually as we start to grow, because you know, our world is changing so drastically. We go into computer arts and all type of arts rather than the traditional art that we are accustomed of doing, or the older folks. So I think it will start to change and move towards more, you know, it will change towards computer, towards other forms of art to really meet the needs of people.
The Division of Culture also offers various courses to juniors 11 to 17 and adults. For further information on the class options, contact the Cultural Division at the Old Mill in Canefield. In other news, Prime Minister of Dominica, Honorable Roosevelt Skerrit, has stated that Antigua and Barbuda voters have made a commendable choice in Prime Minister Honorable Gaston Brown. Honorable Skerrit made the statement to GIS News on Friday morning, congratulating the ABLP on its election to government.
I am satisfied with a young, visionary, energetic leader, Gaston Brown, who is just 47 years old. I'm sure he will do justice. Obviously, the Antiguan people must understand that Rome was not built in a day, and therefore Antigua will not be built in a day, and they cannot expect any quick fix to the structural economic challenges which Antigua and Barbuda is facing. So I look forward to working with him. We worked, as I said, very well while he was in opposition. As you know, he came to address our delegates conference here. He was in Dominica during the inauguration of the government in 2010, 2009, and we'll have no doubt to continue to work together.
The Prime Minister says the Labour parties of the region are well known for being able to solve the problems of their respective countries.
When countries are going through challenges and difficulties, they always return to Labour to address those issues. You've seen it in St. Vincent when Prime Minister Dr. Gonzalez took office. There was a crisis in St. Vincent and Grenadines. People looked to the Labour Party in St. Vincent. When Kenny Anthony lost elections and the government, the ULP came into office in St. Lucia, there were issues there. They returned to Labour to resolve these issues. In Antigua and Barbuda, they were out for 10 years. There were challenges. The situation has deteriorated to a point where people believe that they need new and invigorating leaders and programs and policies to seek to bolster the economy of Antigua and Barbuda, and therefore they have looked back to Labour.
The Prime Minister said further that the Antigua and Barbuda Labour Party and the Dominica Labour Party are connected in more ways than one.
The Antigua Labour Party and the Dominica Labour Party have had very long fraternal connections, way back during the time of E.O. LeBlanc and V.C. Bird Sr. And we continue to work together. We have several Dominicans living in Antigua. So as I indicated, the happiness of Antiguans and Barbudans is also our happiness. Their challenges are also our challenges. And therefore, we're not only sister countries in the OECS or CARICOM, we have very strong and special fraternal relations.
A local youth organization has selected this weekend, June 21st and 22nd, to engage young people in fun physical activity. The island has been cordoned off into 2 zones. On Saturday, June 21st, young people from communities between Grand Bay and the Kalinago territory will gather in Riviera Sirik for a day of rondas and dominoes. On Sunday, the western zone spanning Cottage to St. Joseph will be in Kulibishri for basketball.
The main purpose for having these activities is for the benefit of our young people. We believe in unity, and we believe that we should keep our young people active.
The parliamentary representatives of each constituency in both zones have been invited to bring along their teams and show their skills in sports. The organizer says the expectation is that hundreds of young people from across the island, along with their parliamentary representatives, will spend the weekend getting healthy and having fun. It is hoped that the event will grow into a national sports festival. In more news, the Sickle Cell Cares Foundation was launched on Thursday, June 19th at the UE Open Campus. The foundation was established to raise greater awareness of the blood disease, which shortens life expectancy and is caused by inherited abnormal hemoglobin. CARICOM Youth Ambassador Natasha Gervier is impressed that the National Youth Council has come on board to support this venture.
This afternoon is just an example of how we, the members of the National Youth Council and the youth of Dominica, are representing our young people.
In her address at the launch, Dr. Rhonda McIntyre, head of pediatrics at the PMH, noted that the health division is taking measures to aid in the management of the disease, as it is often associated with death if not appropriately treated.
Sickle cell is not only associated with a lot of morbidity, a lot of illness, a lot of pain and suffering, it's also associated with death if it's not managed appropriately. Or sometimes even managed appropriately can result in death. So that is something that we are very aware of, and this disease has to be managed appropriately.
She also revealed that an issue which is not often considered is the recurrent symptoms, which take a physiological toll.
I think the psychological support that needs to be provided for not just sickle cell patients, but patients with chronic conditions is something that needs some intervention and some support, and it's something that your organization, in collaboration with other organizations, could take on.
Kellen George, director of the Sickle Cell Cares Foundation, told attendees that at a prevalence of 35% in Dominica, greater support was needed for persons afflicted by this disease.
Everybody's talking about chronic non-communicable diseases, we're talking about diabetes, we're talking about obesity. Nobody's addressing sickle cell anemia, and at such a high percentage rate, I thought it would be important that some awareness be created to help people and let them know that there's some way they can have support going through their struggles with sickle cell anemia.
George hopes that in the future, financial support will be provided by the foundation to aid persons suffering from sickle cell anemia. Meanwhile, the Castle Bruce Health team has conducted a comprehensive community session with prevention high on the agenda. Small Bite, Big Threats was the theme of this session, led by Environmental Health Officer Jamal Mingo of the Castle Bruce Health team, with collaborative support from the National Pest and Termite Control Unit, district schools, and the Castle Bruce Village Council. The event featured interactive sessions aimed at informing attendees of the Aedes aegypti mosquito and how the spread of this vector can be curbed. The session was deemed a success, as at the end, students were able to answer all questions directed at them and were eager to go home and implement the measures learned. Mervin Matthew is up next with a recap of this week's headline stories.
Hello, I'm Mervin Matthew. Welcome to Flashback. We're going to take a look back at some of the main stories which made the news this week. His Excellency Bahij Mansour is Israel's new ambassador to Dominica. The ambassador presented his letters of credentials to Dominica's head of state, His Excellency Charles Savre, during the ceremony on Monday. Members of the Roman Catholic Church in the northern communities of Cottage, Tukari, and Savonpai gathered at the Tukari Catholic Church on Sunday to celebrate the feast of St. Anthony. Prime Minister Honorable Roosevelt Skerrit congratulated the newly elected Prime Minister of Antigua and Barbuda, the Honorable Gaston Brown, and his Antigua and Barbuda Labour Party on their resounding victory in the just concluded general elections. The ABLP won 14 of the 17 seats in the Antigua Parliament. Senior geologists confirmed on Monday that the Dominica's first commercial well in Loda had exceeded expectations. The Community Employment Program, a component of government's National Employment Program, was officially launched in the Mao constituency on Monday, June 16. Director of Discover Dominica Authority Colin Piper, during an interview with GIS News, confirmed this week that the Jazz and Creole Festival was a success. Students of early childhood education facilities from across the island took the spotlight this year in Wednesday's celebration of OECS Day. This has been a quick recap of the major stories making the news this week. It's back to you, Jarna.
Thank you, Mervin, and that's the English news. McPherson St. Luce is next with the Creole highlights.
Allô tout le monde, bienvenue à ces nouvelles en créole. Non, moi, c'est McPherson St. Luce. Premièrement, Premier ministre Honorable Roosevelt Skerritt, qui a fait parole que l'administration Labour Party qui continue d'écouter et puis adresser bagailles qui a concerné les résidents Rose Valley, qu'on nous a poussé devant et puis projet géothermique. Premier ministre Skerritt fait parole cela pendant l'exercice où l'officier a testé le projet c'est tout là pour déterminer les conditions capacité projet là. Record qu'a montré que capacité yon c'est tout là, qu'a montré plus haut que ça yon te ka espérer. Premier ministre Skerritt dit gouvernement est toujours en dialogue, ça c'est yon te ka chen meeting et puis moun valley là et puis ça qui continue quand projet là ka progrès. Quand même ministre énergie Honorable Ribbon Blackmore déjà fait parole que projet là ka développé et puis officier qui n'a autant d'expérience en projet comme ça. Chef géologiste Sickle Johnson qui a fait parole que le projet là n'a haute capacité pour production géothermique que vous avez espéré. En la nouvelle, travail développement qui prend place en monde prospère. Parole celle-là qui a sorti au Parlement. Honorable Dr. John Colin McIntyre.
Ça nous est docteur, ça c'est mon prospect. Nous faisons toutes ces chiffres, comme si on demi chimie déjà, comme si nous faisons un demi pâté hier, nous étions là, l'autre boucle là, pas fait hier, c'est mon là, c'est là il sorti. Mais moi dis ça c'est sorti, mon caille fait bayo. So nous faisons ça, nous avons l'autre place, nous avons monté comme c'est l'escalier, nous fait ça tout. Mais toutes ces chimie pour aller à jardin c'est mon là, parce que mon prospect docteur sur place. Nous c'est mon là c'est planté qui là et bien sérieux nous ca aider nous comme c'est nous dans 8 jeunes plantés nous ca aider actuellement à National Employment Program là nous ca bailler tous les mois l'argent pour gagner fumier pour gagner sprayer pour gagner outils comme c'est des pelle fac toutes ces cas de base pour faire bailler pour l'agriculture agriculture adopter non comme c'est nous ca garder contre housing education toutes ces bases on parler contre housing et education on va parler contre tout Rose Valley. Ce n'est pas pour une place. Nous avons aidé ces gens pour faire ces bails.
En notre nouvelle, le ministre agriculture a formulé le plan policy agriculture. Parole celle-là sorti du directeur agriculture Ricky Brumand.
Policy agriculture, nous avons créé un draft. Nous avons travaillé pour faire synthèse, nous finaliser la policy ça. Mais qui a un temps à présent. Mais Aïka, son agence qui a toujours travaillé avec nous en ça. Et bien, il a gardé draft ça pour faire certains. Il a présenté nous quelque chose, nous ça travaille avec pour voyer pour cabinet.
Quand même, si l'homme M. Brumand, policier ça là qui bat une meilleure direction pour le secteur agricole Dominique.
Gouvernement, quand il a fait autant pour le secteur là, il a mis autant l'argent dans ce secteur-là. Mais policy qui va nous en meilleure direction. Comme que nous, ça servi, c'est l'argent ça là, de meilleure manière aussi, pour faire habitants taper meilleurs résultats, ou pays là taper meilleurs résultats. Ça.
Et puis finalement, la division agriculture ni pouvoir pour trim d'arifik et puis banane, qui ni black sigatoka, et puis où là, ils ont abandonné. Parole celle-là sorti au chef département quarantine, Ryan Ansem.
Plan de protection et quarantine, qui a nous loi pour nous faire ça. Nous que notifier les femmes et nous ne doit en bas loi ça là pour nous aller couper toute sa bande fil. Et nous déjà parlé de ces plantes, nous déjà dit si vous parlez de banane, si vous parlez de figue, parlez avec nous parce que nous avons d'autres programmes, horticulture programme là, nous avons programme trick-up programme, nous ça planter ça, pas ni abandonner terre, et bien dire pas biter en figue encore, diversify ou ça planter d'acheter ou ça planter d'autres bagailles. So travail avec le ministre agriculture, et bien nous avons tout le monde Dominique. Pour aider, nous avons dit ça, c'est on biter sur un national problème et pas bagaille ministre agriculture, tout le monde est pour venir ensemble pour nous gourmet kot black cigato ka ever ende industry banana ever planting.
Messieurs, mesdames, ça c'est tout pour nouvelles en créole pour à présent. Non, moi c'est McPherson St. Louis et bon week-end. Au revoir.
Coming up next, a few benefits of drinking water first thing every day.
What's for dinner?
I know, but you want Cheryl.
Who? Cheryl? Oh, babes, that's nothing.
Nothing within there, but that is nothing.
Hon,
come on. Whatever.
You know you're my number one.
And she's number what, 10? Plenty married women getting airs from the husband these days. I don't want to be one of them. From now on, I'm looking out for me.
But babes, I only talk to the woman.
Until I'm certain, this will take care of both of us, if you're lucky.
Your family depends on you. Don't take home aids.
In-studio discussions, insight, Creole News, Road to the Throne, Calypso, Creole Festival, Carnival, and lots more local programming. See it all on the Government Information Service, your first for local news.
It is said that drinking about 6 to 8 glasses of water daily is important for your health. One thing many people do not know is that having the first glass of water as soon as you wake up also comes with its therapeutic benefits. This traditional Ayurvedic treatment has benefits for conditions that range from asthma, pain, to even cancer. 70% of the human body content is water. The human brain cells contain about 85% of water. 75% of muscles is water. Bones also contain about 25% water. And 82% of blood consists of water. That should be enough reason to give it a try. And that's all for this edition of National Focus. We always welcome your suggestions and your comments. Drop us an email at gis@dominica.gov.dm or visit our website news.gov.dm. Friend us on our Facebook page, facebook.com/GIS News Dominica. You can also catch up on past National Focus newscasts on our GIS Dominica YouTube channel. From all of us here on the GIS News Desk, thanks for watching and join us again next time on National Focus.